Hey, we're playing Silent Hill 3, aren't we? That intro has less to do with the story than the other intros in the other games. It's basically just a music video. This is where Akira Yamaoka decided that he wants to be a pop star, I guess, and started adding lyrics to the songs. The lyrics kind of have stuff to do with the plot, I guess. This is very much, he's very much at a stage in his career at this point where he was focused more on the soundtrack, like selling the soundtrack as a CD, than he was really being that involved with the game, or so I've heard, or so I've read. I'm not a big fan of the songs, like with the lyrics in. I find the lyrics to be kind of cringy and bad. And after the Silent Hill 2 HD remaster marketing, again, Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, the person who sings the songs, I lost all respect for her, to be honest. Stop it. Stop with the creepy. So, did you know that they're announcing a new Silent Hill game on Wednesday? The time of recording this. I'm not gonna go too much into detail about it, but I guess people will be kind of wondering how I feel about that. I kind of don't. I don't know, when I first saw the announcement, my stomach kind of turned over and I felt really queasy and uneasy about it. Like I've already explained at the end of the Silent Hill 2 playthrough how I feel about them continuing this series, that it's essentially just a brand name now. And it's probably going to be a reboot. I'm not going to just shit all over it before I've seen any of it, because, I mean, in my opinion, the fact that it all got leaked kind of shows how much at least some of the people working there really respect it, I guess. Like, I kind of agree with what Tom Hewlett said on Twitter, talking about, well, if they're gonna leak it, then clearly they don't have that much reverence for it in the first place. I do kind of agree with that, but I'm not gonna shit all over it. I'm sure the people that do work on it really cared. They're trying their best. I just hope that Konami, and this is actually pertinent to Silent Hill 3 as well, but I hope that Konami have given them the time and the budget that they need to actually pull this off. Especially since Masahiro Ito is involved, you know, the art director for this game and the previous game, Silent Hill 2. I think there's Akira Yamaoka's also involved in it as well, so it'll sound like a Silent Hill game, it'll look like a Silent Hill game. I don't know who's writing it. I've heard of, there's lots of rumours, like the rumour mill's spinning really heavy right now, but I've heard that there's a bunch of the original developers back, so it's got that going for it, but I don't think the creatives behind it were ever the problem. I think Konami is the problem. Like Silent Hill Downpour, like as much as I've shit on Tom Hewlett in that last video, like he seems like a nice guy. He seemed like he cared quite a lot. And if you look at what, we'll get to Silent Hill Downpour, I guess, but if you look at what was actually there, it was decent, it was just unfinished. And that's my main worry. I just want them at this point, even if it's a bad Silent Hill game, I just, at this point, I want a finished product that the developers can be proud of. Because again, you know, the old adage, no one sets out to make a bad game. Things just get in the way, real life gets in the way. And I blame Konami for all of that. Also, another thing that's kind of bugging me is all the people saying that if Kojima isn't involved, they're not interested. Like, Kojima was ever really involved in Silent Hill to begin with? Like, fuck off with that shit. He made a playable teaser that was decent, I guess, but had really nothing to do with Silent Hill. Like, the amount of hype that was surrounding that is ridiculous. It's because it got cancelled that people now think that Kojima is now synonymous with Silent Hill, and it's weird. Because he never had anything to do with it, guys. Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm excited for it. Like, I'm definitely gonna follow it, and well, I say follow it, I'll watch the announcement, and then I'll probably go full-on media blackout until it comes out, and then I'll play it and I'll record it. Hopefully by then I'd have gone through all the series as well, and I'll record it, I'll give my thoughts. Like I said, I'm not gonna shit all over it because people work hard on it. I'm just not particularly excited either. But there's nothing to get excited about. It's a logo. I can't get excited over a logo. I need more right now. So we'll see on Wednesday. I'm sure in one of these episodes I'll probably talk about it after I've seen the announcement. But let's shut up about that one. Let's talk about Silent Hill 3 because the development story on this game is pretty interesting. It's not as clear-cut as 1 and 2. So this one was written by the same person as Silent Hill 2, Hiroyuki Owaku, but it's directed by a different person this time, Kazuhide Nakazawa, previously the character animator, or a character animator on Silent Hill 2. And as I said, Masahiro Ito's back as the art director, but sadly Takayoshi Sato, the guy who did all the CGI for the first game and the second game, he didn't return for this one. Overall, the team was smaller. I think it's around 40 people worked on this. Team Silent at this point was essentially split into two. One team working on this one, and they had the other team working on what would eventually become Silent Hill 4, simultaneously with this one. And get this, it was originally planned to be a rail shooter. Let's get into the game though, and I'll carry on talking about this during the intro. We're going to play it on normal action level. Do I want to go hard? I do. Hard riddle level on this game is ridiculous.
Where am I?
Welcome to Silent Hill 3! So straight off the bat, like, I know this game is running at a much higher resolution than they ever could have possibly imagined at the time of release, but this is a damn good looking game. Like, this is a PS2 game. If you told me this was a PS3 game, I'd believe you. And this was a PS2 game. They were pushing it to its absolute limit. Like, I still think this looks good by today's standards. And I'm not as nostalgia blind to this one because I don't like this one as much as Silent Hill 2. Out of the original trilogy, this one's my least favourite one, to be honest. But we'll get into that. So yeah, Silent Hill 3, originally planned to be a rail shooter. Why is that? Well, It's important to view this game from the historical context that it needs. If you take this out of its historical context, none of this makes any sense. But when Silent Hill 2 originally came out, it didn't do all that great. Like, it sold okay. It sold about 1 million copies. It got decent reviews. But only decent reviews, like 7s out of 10. The majority of the critics at the time would talk about how it was less compelling than the first game. Fan reactions were muted, I want to say. It was popular amongst the more diehard fans, like myself, but it was definitely a cult hit. It did fine, but there was a lot of criticism centered around it, and people wanted the next game to be closer to Silent Hill 3. Sorry, so closer to Silent Hill 1. Especially in terms of plot. Not that supposed spin-off story that we got with James, right? People didn't really get it back then. It was ahead of its time. Like, all of the astronomical praise, it is important to note, all of the astronomical praise that Silent Hill 2 got, it gets in retrospect. So you've probably already noticed what that means for the end product of Silent Hill 3, just here in this area. I mean, look at it. This is a lot more Silent Hill 1 than Silent Hill 2, right? I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think overall this game is definitely scarier than Silent Hill 2. In terms of like the otherworld stuff and whatnot, and just the general look of the horror. I actually prefer the Silent Hill 1 and Silent Hill 3 style to Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill 2 I never really found... Apart from the moments where I got really spooked, I don't find it overall to be that scary. This one's a bit more in your face. Lots of grotesque imagery like this. And what's this? Something strange in a cagey box thing. A person? Not quite. I don't really want to stare at it for very long, whatever it is. So yeah, it's a bit more in your face. And again, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just clear, and you'll notice this as we go through, it's clear that this game went through a bunch of iterations before we ended up here, where we are now. And it's very much designed as a reaction to what the fans wanted, not necessarily what the game developers wanted to make. And I'm not saying that they wanted to make a rail shooter either. So this game isn't bad, far from it. I like it a lot less than 2, but I like most things less than 2 really, so it's a redundant statement. I think the harshest thing I have to say about this game is that it doesn't really innovate, it's kind of more of the same. With some quality of life, lots of quality of life improvements. That's only like digging really deep to find some criticism. Anyway, the point, sorry, I'm reviewing it. The point I'm trying to make is that the game went through some major changes as development went on, and they had a small team, they had limited time, a lot of which was wasted trying to make a rail shooter at Konami's behest. And this is what I'm saying about the new one. Konami have never really given this series a fair shake, in my opinion. They had Silent Hill 2, which didn't sell the way they wanted it to, so they tried to do a complete 180 and make an action game. I don't know how they ended up with this product here, but they had no time, they had a very small budget, and they didn't really have a lot of staff to kind of pull it off, so to me it's a miracle that this game turned out as well as it did. But let's talk about what we're seeing here. We also have the iconic Robbie the Rabbit. A rabbit doll? No, it's a costume. Is there someone in there? It looks like there is, but I don't feel like making sure. There's a lot more personality in the narration as well. It's less utilitarian, it's more like, you know, Heather being a teenage girl. It actually sounds like a teenage girl explaining things to you. It's a giant rabbit costume. Why would this be here? So, Silent Hill 3, it begins right where Silent Hill 1 ended. The Lakeside Amusement Park. We're also pretty well loaded. We have a different inventory looking screen as well. Silent Hill 3, it's kind of... We'll get to this, but it purposefully instills a sense of deja vu. There's a lot of confusion and ambiguity, both in the narrative in this lady here's actions and the way she feels. And it wants to instill a sense of deja vu, so it brings a lot of parallels to the first game, which will become apparent a bit later on. Unlike Silent Hill 2, I don't feel the need to spoil this one right off the bat. But if it comes to the point where I feel like I need to reveal what's going on, for the sake of my narration, then I'll just do it, so consider this your spoiler warning even so. This game does carry all the weight and themes of the previous two games. It's a bit more in the background, I want to say. But there is a lot going on in this game. There's a lot of themes of femininity and childbirth. Lots of bodily autonomy, manipulation, and the unconscious as well. It's a worthy sequel. And the monsters are big boys. Big slow boys. It's gotta be my least favourite sound in any Silent Hill game. Those enemies there are called pendulums, but we'll get more into the enemy designs a bit later on. You notice it started us off in the other world, like straight away. Which is a series first. But I will say, as much as I prefer Silent Hill 2, I think technically this game is the team at their absolute peak. The sound design's incredible, the graphics are just amazing. It feels better to play. The voice acting's better. Like, everything's better except for the themes and the story. And I think that's only because they didn't have the time that they needed. And that's Silent Hill 3. That's how Heather dies at the end. No, she's waking up in a cafe, which is our first callback to Silent Hill 1. Also, there's people talking, and there's cars going past. Still in civilization, which is a little unexpected, don't you think?
What a nightmare.
Dad, it's me. Yeah. Sorry I didn't call sooner. Yeah, I guess I was. Anyway, I'm coming home now. Oh, I didn't get that thing you asked me to. Okay. Okay, I will. I love you too, Dad.
Heather, I need to speak with you. My name is Douglas Cartland. I'm a detective.
A detective? Really?
Nice talking to you.
Hold on. There's someone that wants to meet you. Just let me have an hour. No, half an hour of your time.
My daddy always told me not to talk to strangers.
This is very important. It's about your birth.
I'm not interested. Are you still following me? Do I have to scream?
Sorry. I'll wait here.
So we've learned a name. This is Heather, a 17-year-old girl. 17? 17. I think 17. I haven't written any notes on Silent Hill 3. I don't know as much about this one, like as in depth as Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill 2 is like my baby. That's the one I think I've got a really good handle on. This one I've played less. I haven't made notes. I'm just gonna be riffing a lot of this stuff. But this is Heather. I really like Heather as a character. I see a lot of myself in her. If I ever have a daughter, I'm naming her Heather. And I'm serious about that. But yeah, in this game there's a lot of feminine horror, I want to call it. Like, I'll explain more as we go, but we've kind of seen a bit of it already, you know? She's a young, vulnerable girl, and she's being followed by this old man. The mark on this mirror, it looks so familiar somehow. What do I know it from? Where did I once see it? And why does my head hurt so much when I try to remember it? These are your save points, Heather. We'll talk more about the save points later on. You notice it's not just a red square. It's a glyph. That's called the Halo of the Sun, but we'll talk more about that later. Guess someone's in there. But yeah, you may notice that there's people around, right? You heard them. You saw the cars driving past. That's weird, right? It's like the first time in these games. That weird old detective is out there, so I'm not leaving. Like, where's all the fog? I can see the sky. Where's all the Silent Hill fog? I really, really like the music as well that plays at the start of this. Well, that's helpful. Maybe I should walk around it. Never mind. How did this car park here? How indeed? So yeah, things are looking a bit more dilapidated now, but you can still hear people.
hell is this thing?
He's a spooky boy, that's what he is. It's definitely not human. I've never heard of such an animal. No way it's a costume. It sounds crazy when you say it, but monster is the only word for it. But I don't think I'm crazy. It's a monster. I killed it. It's not that I hate clothes, but this isn't the time or place. Yeah, you're probably right. You see this corpse on the ground? Take a good look. It's Angela from Silent Hill 2. It's just there as an Easter egg. They just reused the model. Got a face munched off by this thing called a closer. Closer or closer? I'm not entirely sure how you're supposed to pronounce it. In terms of monster symbolism, people have their theories on what the monsters symbolize. I kind of theorize that they kind of don't really symbolize anything. Like, not to the level that Silent Hill 2 monsters do. And the only reason I believe that is because that's what Masahiro Ito said, and he's the guy that designed them. He says that the monsters don't really have that much kind of symbolism. They just needed some monster designs for this one. Again, they didn't have a lot of time to complete their vision, which is going to be a common thread moving forward, I think, in these games. Something about this face, it's a little creepy. So we've actually launched right into our first Zelda dungeon. The shopping mall. It'd be too hard to get through here with all the boxes and pallets. The locker door won't open. Guess I'll just leave it alone. Oh yeah, we haven't checked her inventory yet, have we? So she's got a pendant. Dad gave me this pendant on my birthday. It's one of my treasured belongings. There's a jewel inside, like a little red tablet. When I asked Dad what it was, he said, just a lucky charm. Then he told me to take good care of it and never take it off. And I got my front door key. Daisy Villa apartment 102 is carved into the key. Got a handgun, got a knife. And we got some bullets for aforementioned handgun. I will talk a little bit about the monster symbolism a bit later on. Like I said, I don't entirely subscribe to them having lots of symbolism, but that doesn't mean they doesn't. I mean, things can mean whatever you want them to mean, right? That's the beauty of art. But we'll talk about them later. Because again, talking about it now means spoilers, and I don't really want to right now. Spoil it right now. There'll be plenty of opportunity. So that was just a tutorial on... Also, they changed the inventory button around. It's a tutorial on beef jerky. Processed dried meat sometimes is just enough to distract the monsters. So you can put down meat to distract the monsters in this one. I don't think I've ever done it. Like, ever. People banging upstairs. Something's fallen between the table and the floor. I think it might be a key. If my arms were a little longer, I might be able to reach it. There's a huge pile of cardboard boxes on the table full of books. It's way too much of a pain to move something that heavy. It's like a magic circle I remember reading about in a book on black magic. Does it seem so familiar because I read about it in that book? No, that's not it. It's not the book, it's from the altar. Altar? What am I thinking? So there's this element of every single time she looks at this sign, some of her memory returns. I'm hoping I don't have the volume down too low for the ambulance. Ambulance? Ambience? Hey look, it's the meme! It's Brad! Now go look at the new Silent Hill reveal. And see how many people have made the same joke about Brad. I guarantee it's a lot. There are no employees around. I wonder where they all went. There's a flyer! Crispy toasted bread right to your very door. Everything on sale. Helen's Bakery. It's locked. I got the key taken with tongs. There's a tag on the key that says My Bestsellers. My Bestsellers, a bookstore key? Very probably. Yeah, I really like the ambient music on this one. Now we've come up to our first puzzle. The infamous Shakespeare puzzle. Where we get a bunch of books. 5 of which we need to figure out the order that these need to go in. And I'll show you the hint first. So then you can try and solve it too. I will say the first time I did this puzzle on hard mode, it took me hours. Actual hours to solve. Should I just line up the books I picked up off the floor? I mean, you do line them up, but what order do you put them in? That's the question, right? You need to figure out what order these go in. On the lesser difficulty levels, there's just a number on the books. You just have to match it up like a pattern, but not on this one. Here's our hint. Are you ready? In here is a tragedy. Art thou player or audience? Be as it may, the end doth remain. All go on only toward death. The first words at thy left hand, a false lunacy, a madly dancing man, hearing unhearable words, drawn to a beloved grave, and there, mayhap, true madness at last. As did this one playing at death, find a true death at the last. Killing a nameless lover, she pierced a heart rent by sorrow. Doth lie invite truth? Doth verity but wear the mask of falsehood? Ah, thou pitiful, thou miserable ones! Still amidst lies, though the end cometh not, wherefore yearn for death? Wilt thou attend to thy beloved? Truth and lies, life and death, a game of turning white to black and black to white. Is not a silence brimming with love more precious than flattery? A peaceful slumber preferred to a throne besmirched with blood? One vengeful man spilled blood for two. Two youths shed tears for three. Three witches disappeared thusly, and only the 4 keys remain. Ah, but verily, in here is a tragedy. Art thou player or audience? There is nothing which cannot become a puppet of fate, or an onlooker, peering into the cage. Cool, so do you know what the do you know what the answer is? I mean, I think the obvious part is that it's talking about scenes from each of these plays, but this is why I think this is a bad puzzle, first of all. It's great, like it's a great kind of puzzle, it really gets you thinking. The only thing I don't like about this puzzle is you can't really intuit it unless you know Shakespeare. And a lot of people defend it by saying like, oh, well, of course you know Shakespeare, you did Shakespeare at school. Yeah, sure, if you're American. I didn't do Shakespeare at school. And I didn't, when this game first came out, the internet wasn't really that big a thing either. I got completely stuck. I had to quit the game and go back down to normal difficulty. So the idea is that we have each of these, and if you examine them, they're not much for sentimental slop like Romeo and Juliet. It just tells you, like King Lear, so it tells you which one's a which. But the problem is, you need to infer it from here. Which order it goes in. So the first and final verse isn't relevant. So the first verse is Hamlet, which is anthology number 4, I think. This one's Romeo and Juliet. I think this one's Macbeth. Definitely vague, though. This one's Othello. And this one's King Lear. So we know what order they need to go in, right? Simple as that. By the way, I'm not doing this off the top of my head. I've written down the solution ahead of time because I'm not that insane. But I did solve this on my own back in the day. And it was crazy, and it took absolutely hours. I think it took me like 3 hours or something. So this is the order that they go in. Yeah, I'm not going to pretend that I'm doing all this off the top of my head. That would just be dishonest. So that's the order they go in. So the code is 41352. Right, so the code isn't 41352, so maybe it's 25314? Nope. There's more. There's more. This is why I really like this puzzle. There's more to it. You have to really, really read it. So you go through all this bit. One vengeful man spilled blood for two. Spilled blood for two means that the book's number has to be multiplied by 2. So the first number has to be multiplied by 2, which becomes 8. Oops. Two youths shed tears for 3. Shed tears for 3 means that the second number has to be multiplied by 3. 1 multiplied by 3 is 3. 3 witches disappeared thusly, and only the 4 keys remain. So only 4 keys remain, so there's 4 numbers, and 3 witches disappeared thusly. Which means you take the number 3 out of it, which gives us our final answer. 8352. I like the puzzle. It's the Shakespeare part. It's how you have to have outside knowledge of the game. I think that's the only thing that I find a bit iffy about it, but the actual puzzle itself, well done, whoever thought of that.
Hey, wait, what's going on? Where is everybody? Those weird monsters?
They have come to witness the beginning. The rebirth of paradise, despoiled by mankind.
What are you talking about?
Don't you know? Your power is needed.
How should I know?
I am Claudia.
So what?
Remember me, and your true self as well. Also, that which you must become. The one who will lead us to paradise with blood-stained hands.
Claudia, right? Did you do all this?
It was the hand of God.
I don't get it. What does she want me to remember?
Not to unpack on that scene, to be honest, but all I'll say is that was Claudia. I really like her design. I like how she walks around barefooted, which is it's kind of a common thing you see in temples. Because obviously they want to be connected to the holy ground that the temple is on, but Claudia's walking around barefooted everywhere. That kind of shows her devotion, and she probably believes that all of this is holy ground. She's kind of talking in riddles right now. That will all make more sense as the story progresses, but what she said is really important, so if you really listen to what she's saying, you'll start to understand a bit more about what's going on. But she's also voiced by Donna Burke, the same voice actress who played Angela in the previous game. Noted terrible voice actor Donna Burke, which obviously I say sarcastically because I really like her as Angela. A lot of people don't though. Also, Heather had a pretty gnarly migraine just then. Things are starting to sound a bit creepy, aren't they? Oh, buttons for the elevator. A radio? What the hell is this doing falling down from the ceiling? Anyway, I guess that explains the static from just before. It's all it's picking up is static. I wonder if it's broken.
Is this a dream? It's gotta be. Not even a kid could believe in this. But when am I going to wake up?
So, interesting point. You know how everyone just in the mall just disappeared? I wonder where they went. First of all. Second of all, this is starting to look a lot like the other world taking over reality again, isn't it? So we must be in Silent Hill, right? Ow! Dick! I'm trying to explain! I'm trying to foreshadow things! Stop eating me! Okay, I think a gun might be more useful. You can hear Munchie Boys in the distance. Got an ampoule, that's quite early. Ooh, can we see outside? But this is the PC version of the game as well, by the way. There's no, like, massive enhanced edition fan patch, unfortunately, for this one. But there is a fan patch, which I'll try and remember to put in the description if you do want to play it. It makes it much more playable on modern hardware. And I believe it's actually made by one of the people that works on the Silent Hill Enhanced Edition. This again, looking at it makes my head hurt, but at the same time, it's like so familiar. I know I've forgotten something really important, but I also have the feeling that I'd be better off not remembering it. Hopefully we can just leave this Munchie boy to it. The ladder is hanging halfway down from the ceiling. Even if I stand on the table and stretch my hands out, I can't reach it. If only I had something long to snag it. If only. Lots of big fellas. Got some bleach. I love how the sky is just like crimson red or orange. Still light out. Is someone actually in there? Nope. There's lots of blood on the toilet. So this is where I start to read the feminine horror. I'm sorry, this is going to be a bit gross, but this is almost like, well, you know, there's a big theme of childbirth in this game, like in the first one. Need I say more? You know what I'm talking about. They actually had a decent amount of women on staff for this one as well, and I think it really shows. Like, it starts in a mall, we've got these big overbearing boys, which could be, you know, it could be symbolic of overbearing men. I say could be because it could just as easily not be, but I just have a lot less headcanon for this one as I do on Silent Hill 2. Should be something here, but it's too dark to see. If only I had a flashlight. Yeah, if only you did have a flashlight. Okay, that's first objective, I guess. Get a flashlight. I need my controller to stop switching off randomly as well. That'd be nice. Yeah, let's go back to eating, Mr. Doggo. Really? Every single one of these locks is like this? Really? I thought this is where you got the flashlight from. There's just one place I haven't tried. Interesting thing on this one is the puzzle difficulty also adds kind of scenarios to the game as well. Like, they completely omit puzzles on different difficulty levels. This isn't one of them, I just remembered that that's the thing they do. When leaving the room, be sure to turn out the lights. It will be obvious if they are not switched off. There's a flashlight. And bullets and stuff. Got a hanger. You also get a bulletproof vest. The bulletproof vest is interesting. A wire coat hanger I got at the boutique. The sort of stuff you use to clean a toilet. I think I have the same kind at home. Bulletproof vest. It's heavy under a jacket, but it should protect against the monster's attacks. So you can actually equip a bulletproof vest. But it makes Heather run a lot more slowly. That was loud. I tend not to use the bulletproof vest. So I'm fighting like bosses and things. Because the enemies are kind of easy to dodge. Especially the big lumbering boys, like... I do get hit by them occasionally, but they are much easier to dodge than the doggos, for sure. So much detail in the textures, I love it. Now we got fancy ladder climbing animations. They did have a budget. Why would something like this be here? This isn't a hospital. Been a while since we saw things like this, isn't it? It's almost like we're back in Silent Hill 1. So now we're over this side. Lots of deep, dark chasms in this game. And you can fall into them and die, so you have to be really careful. Right, I recognize that. Got a walnut. There was a nice silver ring in here the last time I came. Bummer that it's gone, huh? I like that. Like, there's just little bits of personality this time. Anyway, that's an hour, so we'll leave it there, I think. Can't wait to get through this one, though. I do really like this one as well. Again, like, it's not Silent Hill 2, but it's still one of the better games out there. So I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye bye!